Oops moments in cataract surgery, handling intraoperative surprises. These surprises can occur at every step of the surgery. Incisions, CCC, hydro, phaco, IA and IOL placement.
When there's something strange and the keratome slips, the capsule screams and the MVR hits. Who you gonna call? Oops Busters!
At times the keratome can slip and nick the anterior capsule. Solution to this is to start the rhexis from the same side and engulf the entire nick in the CCC to prevent a rhexis runoff. Such wound leaks can cause an unstable chamber. A simple technique is to take a sharp keratome and create another parallel incision in the roof of the original incision. Hydrate the same with the cannula and you'll be surprised to see that the wound leak stops.
We spin the needle and flap goes west. Down comes the news, giving us stress. Who you gonna call? Oops Busters!
An accidental puncture of the anterior capsule can happen while injecting the viscoelastic in the AC. Reform the chamber and start the CCC from the same site of the puncture, go all around and engulf the puncture site. An accidental puncture of the anterior capsule happens with the keratome. Form the chamber with the viscoelastic and start your CCC from the site of the puncture. It's important to go around and make sure the site of the puncture is completely covered. And this will ensure the CCC does not give way and the IOL centers in the bag. While performing rhexis with Utrata forceps, sometimes viscoelastic leaks. One must reform the anterior chamber, but reattempting a rhexis will cause a leak and this can lead to a rhexis runaway. To prevent this, reform the anterior chamber and use a microrhexis forceps through the side port, go all around grasping the CCC to complete it.
A tiny rhexis, oh is that bad? Pop comes the sound, what the hell was that? Who you gonna call? Oops Busters!
When a small CCC is created, there is always the fear of a rhexis blowout during hydro procedures. In such cases, to perform in-the-bag phacoemulsification, reduce the bottle height, lower all parameters, observe the flap motility sign in phacoemulsification and in IA. Do not allow the chamber to collapse. Carefully inject the IOL, nudge it into the bag without dialing it to complete the case successfully.
The probe's at work, tricks up its sleeve. Don't go hunting, the water's deep. Taking a dive, it's time to weep. Who you gonna call? Oops Busters!
In a soft cataract, there is a good chance there will be a crater formation. This leads to thinning and you can see a beautiful glow coming through. If the pupil is smaller than the size of the rhexis and there is a crater formation, we can use either hooks, viscodilation or continue struggling. The ideal choice would be to use hooks to get better exposure and perform safe phacoemulsification to prevent any complication. A case of weak zonules and a dense cataract, one can successfully complete the rhexis, but for a safe in-the-bag phacoemulsification, we have to lower all the parameters. But at times, the bag may tend to follow the nucleus and one can have a zonular dialysis. Of course, perform an anterior vitrectomy after staining the vitreous and insert an endocapsular ring from the area opposite to that of the zonular dialysis, followed by irrigation aspiration, which is tangential and not centripetal. This will release the cortex, which is entrapped by the endocapsular ring. This is followed by in-the-bag placement of the IOL. Make sure the IOL is not dialed all around and the haptics additionally support the area of the zonular dialysis. In another case during phacoemulsification, we face intraop miosis. Even viscodilation does not help and the miosis continues to worsen. In such scenarios, a ring can really help. But it is very important to make sure that the loop of the ring is not entrapping the CCC. we can release the trapped margin of the CCC from the loop before IOL implantation into the bag. The lens can then safely be placed into the bag. The ring which was placed can be easily removed.
The eye is tricky, CCC in shreds. Don't pull the tag, steer clear my friend. Who you gonna call? Oops, Buster!
During bimanual IA, misdirected fluid causes iris prolapse. So we reposit it, change our hands and direct the irrigation to correct the flow and prevent iris prolapse. This completes the IA successfully. In another case, while performing IA with a coaxial probe, one may accidentally hold the posterior capsule because the irrigation port is in the incision itself. In such scenarios, it may be wise to shift to a bimanual technique after IOL implantation to remove the subincisional cortex. In yet another case, while removing the viscoelastic from behind the IOL, the haptic can pop out from the bag into the anterior chamber. It can easily be put back into the bag under irrigation using Sinskey hook.
It flippity flips and sometimes slips. Oops, oh no! The eye's in splits. Who you gonna call? Oops, Busters!
During IOL implantation, it may flip. Place viscoelastic to protect the posterior capsule and the cornea. One can flip this IOL and orient the haptics correctly. Then the superior haptic can be dialed into the bag. While inserting single-piece hydrophobic IOL, one would have seen stuck haptics, but this is something different. The haptic is actually held on by the body of the IOL itself. Nothing to worry, the haptic actually just releases itself and the IOL orients itself in the bag. In some cases, the haptic is trapped between the plunger and the cartridge itself. Don't be impatient. Cut the cartridge away from the haptic. This itself will release the haptic. Once the haptic is released, very simple, just dial it into the bag.
Scream, shout, fear no more. Chin up, and so who's got your back? Oops, Busters! So hold your wits and grace, cause in the end you'll find your place. Who's gonna call? Oops, Busters! Who you gonna call? Oops, Busters! Who you gonna call? Oops, Busters! Who you gonna call? Oops, Busters!